That will fit in a 426 Chrysler Hemi. There was one light bulb in the whole building on a cord hanging there. Most of those axles are out of Dale's car. And that old man would cover your ass up with dirt. We're in my old shop. When I first started racing NASCAR, I came in this shop in late 68 or if it was early 69. When I came here, there was one light bulb in this building hanging from one cord from the ceiling. That's all. And there was a wooden door here, and we had to open it by hand. Didn't have no opener on it. It was heavy.
Were you renting it back then?
Yeah, I rented it from a guy by the name of Nick Kuhn. And he was the Gulf Oil distributorship in Asheville, North Carolina. This corner here, I had a tire machine, and that's why I changed tires and stuff all the time.
He can do anything from get the car to the racetrack, work on it, drive it, fit it, do everything. So he's a one-man show, so to speak.
Because in those days, we had to unmount and mount a lot of our own tires and stuff on the wheels.
Were you the only person in here, or did you share it?
No, I was the only person.
It's a pretty nice sized shop.
And so this overhead here wasn't here then. But I didn't have that part of the building. That was as far as I went right there. And all I had to heat this place, I had a wood stove. I think you can't even see where the chimney was, but we had an old wood stove in here. And that's all we had to heat it for heat. Had the air compressor back in here.
Looks like they're still using a wood stove.
And this door and stuff at that time wasn't here. There were some of them glass windows broke out there, and rather than put a window in them, we just made a piece of metal and welded it in because them were steel frames. But when you put these doors in, they took that out. Them doors, they ain't been here very long.
Where did you have your...
How long you have this hole? Just last summer, huh?
8 months, I think, like 6 months ago.
Yeah. I was just telling him, you know, that wasn't here when I had the shop.
Yeah, I mean, you know, because this is only play where you put it in.
Well, when I used to race, I had to block the road. We would back the truck up in the trailer in the door, and we would actually block the road to push the race car out and load it on the trailer.
It's hard traffic. This traffic is really fast.
Yeah, it's bad now. But I'm talking 1969, 1970, and traffic wasn't too bad.
Not too bad. This time, David, oh my God, you stand there in the road, you know,
it's
call
bad.
and let you know the customer come out.
Yeah.
That's what I open right here in Goodyear.
Yeah, this is good, yeah.
That's what I'm doing, you know. Yeah. My stove right here. You know, and my stove right here.
Yeah, well, see, I had a stove over there. And when I used to paint the race car, we used to set the one side of it by the stove, and I'd come down here all night long and put wood in to get it warm, and then we'd paint that side of the car, then we'd turn it around and get the other side. It'd have to sit there all night long and then paint the other side.
That's right, because not have much space, you know, to do.
Yeah.
But it's bigger, right? I told you it's bigger, but
Yeah, it's hard to heat so high.
I know. That's what it is. You're right. It's too high, and when it's
Can't keep no heat in there.
when it's summertime, it's good. You know,
Yeah, good.
It's better working right here.
Yeah, you're right there.
I know you just.
But see, I didn't have that part in there. All I had was that. I worked in here a lot of years, and it was cold in the winter. I moved out of here, I believe it was in the fall of 87. 85 or
I
87.
think after you, somebody rented for motorcycle repair right here.
After that, yeah, I guess from Nick Kuhn. Do they still own it yet,
I
right?
still own this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow, same people.
He's passed away now, but I think his daughter or something.
Daughter, yeah.
Yeah.
The daughter still running this one.
Did you have an office in here?
And, oh no, I didn't even have a telephone.
Wow.
At one time, I put a payphone in here, and that's what we used for a telephone.
Good.
I didn't have the money to hook a telephone up, but they would put a payphone in for you free of charge.
Did other people come use the payphone, like off the street?
Well, yeah, now and then, but if I had to use the phone, I had to pay too.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Because when I would call people in those days to try and get some help with a sponsorship and all, and then they're gonna call you back. I couldn't sit at home and wait for a phone call. I couldn't get no work done.
That's
I
what
didn't
was
have no
wondering.
employees at that time, just myself. Helen would chase parts for me and help me sand the race cars before painting them and that kind of stuff. So,
So how were the cars kind of oriented in here whenever
well, generally we worked on the car there, and we built the platform over here because there's really no level places in here. So we built a great big platform over in that area right there to set the cars up on. We'd push them up on that platform for our measurements and stuff so we'd be accurate, could make it repeat. And then I had a bench along here. I worked on all my rear gears and stuff here. I had a bench along this wall. Had an air compressor right here. I didn't have much then.
was the platform screwed to the floor at all, or does it
No,
just sit
it
there?
was just set there.
I'm just thinking of things that you may have put on the wall or something. There would still be a hole there that you drilled, or it's like evidence of your
No,
stuff.
I didn't have this corner of the building, and I didn't have this part. This ran along here, but then where he's got this boarded off now, this in there was real narrow, and that's where I had my parts and stuff. And there was nobody in this other part of the building. It was just empty. But I didn't have that part rented.
Still a really big shop.
Yeah, that's not bad at all. Do you remember how much your rent was back then?
$75 a month.
Wow. That sounds nice.
Yeah.
So when was the last time you were actually inside the building here?
When I think when I went out of there in '87.
You never actually came back in here after that?
I don't recall. Maybe one time I come and got some stuff that I had upstairs up there. I had a lot of storage, like spare tires and stuff up there. But see, he sheeted that off now, I suppose, so they don't have to heat it. Yeah, it was. There was no door over there. That was just a brick wall. And like you say, them doors weren't there. Just that was the only door I had right there, the big door. We had to open and close the big door to come and go.
Did you ever shake down your cars on the street out there?
Not really. Like I said, when we'd load the car, we had to back the truck up in the trailer. And we'd pretty much block the road. And then we'd push it on real quick. And when we tried to do it real quick, you know, but.
Do you have any pictures and albums that were taken in here back in the day?
I don't know for sure.
That'd be cool to see.
I wasn't much for pictures. I was working all the time.
You had to.
Yeah, well, I was basically by myself.
What was in this corner over here?
We just worked on a car here. It needs a bigger wood stove.
That's bigger than what you had?
No, not much. Mine was pretty small too. Like I say, it sat over here. And then you can drive around the building, you know, but it's pretty hard.
So doing these things is so much fun because you drive by this place and you would never, ever, ever think that there was a
Race car shop here?
Yeah. That's like, yeah, that building right there. Dave Marcis used to race out of that place. Like, you'd never guess that.
Yeah, it was the grocery store at that time.
Huh? Where
Across
it
the
said
street.
A&D Motors there.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. And where that gas station that is over there now, that used to be called the Arcadia Dairy Bar. And that lady had the best cheeseburgers in the country, and malted milks, shakes, and ice cream, homemade ice cream, and everybody ate over there. Mrs. Arthur was the lady's name.
That's funny because usually with everybody's old shop, they always got like the closest place for food. That's always one of the things that gets mentioned. It's like, what is the closest, quickest in and
I'll
out?
thank that fella there. Thank you.
You're welcome, David. Nice to meet you, David.
Yeah, good to meet you. I stop and see you sometime.
Stop right here. You know, I'm still working like you.
Stay here.
Yeah, stay right here.
Keeping the legacy, man.
Well, that's all I had was a little bitty wood stove on that wall over there. That's all I had.
That's what you had before too?
That's all, yeah.
Yeah, hard to heat. This
I know, it was hard. When I first come here, there was one light bulb in the whole building on a cord hanging there, straight down from the ceiling.
Wow.
One bulb in it.
What do you see? Just a flashlight all the
Well,
time?
the light from the windows and stuff and drop cords. Yeah.
You got good eyes.
So you,
Yeah.
you used to have a shop right here too?
Yeah, I worked in here from 1968 or 69. I remember, I might have come early 69
Oh, really?
until 1987
Really?
Yeah.
Like 20 years working here?
on a race car.
Race car?
Yeah.
Hey, nice to meet you, man. Former racing driver. I love that, man. I love that.
I'll bring you a postcard, some postcards.
Oh, I'll be awesome, man. That'll be
Okay.
awesome.
David.
Hey, very nice to meet you all, okay?
Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, that was about best case scenario, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's cool.
I
It's a
just
really
can't
cool
remember
building.
where that
Very.
chimney, that stove set right over here. I guess maybe we had it out the window. I don't remember. Yeah, see, we backed the trailer right here. So if the traffic would come, we'd have somebody out here and they could send them around that pole because there weren't no cars or nothing there. There was a pit here,
That was there?
but we never, but we never used that.
Where'd you park your truck and trailer at?
Right here. Yeah, right in here. Usually the trailer behind the building.
It's such a neat building. I guess it was...
That's an
auto-
old building. It used to be, I think, a feed mill years ago, somebody told me.
Huh. Guess it was automotive service at one point too, with that old pit. That's so cool.
Let's run up to my house and maybe I can leave Helen at home and then we'll run to the old shop, to my shop.
Okay. This place is awesome.
I'll get her in the house.
I guess if you're in the area, these guys are super cool.
We came up here that time to go to run that race at Asheville Weaverville. And then I had a couple guys helping me in the pits. And one of them had an aunt that lived up here, I'll show you. And she used to have a trailer house there at one time. And that one boy, his name was Dale Watson, told me about it. She was a widow lady, and he said she'd be glad to have somebody living there. She's by herself. And so we went and talked to her. When we moved down here, that's where we moved our trailer house. We lived in that trailer house for 24 years. So we never got a house till after we were 50 years old, I guess. But you had to just do what you could afford to do, that's all. We didn't have the money for a house. It was a trailer house I bought in the fall of 1965 in Wisconsin. Moved it down here in 1969. And I moved it myself. Another guy that was racing in NASCAR at that time, Clyde Lynn, he lived in Christiansburg, Virginia. He had a wrecking yard and he moved and hauled trailer houses. We took his truck that he towed trailer houses with. He sold me the truck for $1. We put it in my name so that he wouldn't be responsible. I put insurance on it and moved the trailer house down here. Our trailer house was parked right there on that hill where that big gray house is right now. They just built that there in the last 2 years. But our trailer house sat up there about where them green trees are growing right there, and where that end of that house is.
Huh.
And that lady we rented from, her house was right here. They tore it down. I don't understand. They bought it for this development, but that house that she had was built out of all river rocks. It was a beautiful old-timey home. They should have kept it there, but they didn't. But so that's then when I had that shop down there. So I was only, from here to there is only about 2 3/4, 3 miles.
Did you get your road course practice going to and from the shop every day?
Yeah.
This looks like a fun road.
But when we were talking about that wood stove, you know, I'd have to get up 2 or 3 times a night at this time of the year, you know, December and January, and go down there and put wood in that wood stove to keep it, try and keep it warm in there. But that big building, as you see, you were in it, it's damn hard to heat.
Whatever happened to that trailer house after you built the real house?
When I got the house built, then that lady that lived there, she bought it from us and she rented it to people, and it got tore down about 5 or 6 years ago.
That lasted a long time.
Yeah, she passed away when she was, I think, like 93 years old. And then her son had the place, and then he sold it to these developers eventually, and then they tore it down.
Do you still have a place in Wisconsin?
I still got some land in Wisconsin yet, yeah. I got my mother and dad's old house and farm, and I'm pretty sure this, I know this light, I know it ain't ready, but when the traffic comes off of that road, then it comes off of this road second before it lets the rest of them go. And then we have her grandpa's old farm too up there, yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, we noticed you got Wisconsin plates on all your trucks.
Yeah, well, this car is back and forth, you know. Sometimes I got it up there and sometimes it's down here. Usually it stays up there in Wisconsin.
What prompted you or enabled you to build that bigger shop that came after?
It was like when you're trying to get a sponsor or something, if they're going to spend any amount of money, you really need to have some kind of collateral. So I didn't even have a shop. I just rented that old building you were in. And I told Helen, I said, you know, if I'm ever going to get a decent sponsor, I'm going to have to get a decent shop. So that's what prompted me to build a shop before a house. I just felt like it was a necessity to have a decent building and to show a sponsor that, you know, if they're going to invest some money in you, that you're a racing team that races for a living, and it's a full-time job. It ain't just some back alley situation. So
That makes sense. Did it help?
yes, oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm going in, yeah.
Okay, let me shut this off.
That's Sam, my son-in-law.
Oh. Was this all built at once, or did you build it in sections? Like, was there?
Well, I built this all at once.
Okay.
Well, we added, this part's added on. Yeah, this was an addition, wasn't it, Sam?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think like 96 it came.
yeah, when we got a sponsor. I think after Dwayne come, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, this is awesome.
That's Sam, by the way.
Yeah. Nice to meet you, Mitchell.
Hey there.
All this stuff on like the.
So here's our old frame jig. So much stuff piled on, you can't tell what it is. So I could put a car in here and we could actually cut a front clip off of it and put a new front clip on it if we wanted to. That's a Magnaflux machine there behind the car. I could do my own Magnafluxing.
What was the last Cup car that ran out of here?
When?
Yeah.
I can't remember. I just, after I retired, we didn't have Trickle or Sauter run any races, or did we? Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, we had Dick Trickle drove some. I can't remember what races we ran, do you?
Dick drove Dover, Atlanta, I think drove Bristol too.
That's right, I remember now because I was busy with the IROC cars, and I remember we were in California when you guys were in Atlanta, and we didn't have to test IROC cars on that Sunday afternoon, and so I called up Parnelli Jones, and Jim Sauter and I went down to Parnelli Jones's shop in Long Beach, and Parnelli was showing us around the shop and all, and then it was time to get lunch, and he said, let's run down the street to a sandwich shop and I'll buy you guys a sandwich. We were upstairs. He was showing us some of them off-road cars he used to run in them Baja races and stuff. And I said, you got a TV set down here? He said, yeah. I said, let's turn that on a second and see how Trickle's doing at Atlanta. He's running my car at Atlanta today. And Parnelli turned the TV on, and there's Trickle hitting the wall. He says, I guess we shouldn't have turned that TV on, shouldn't we? I remember that now.
Yeah.
We scaled the cars in this area after we put this addition on. We used to do it way over there in the corner. Was a good level floor over there. I built my gears and stuff in here, my transmissions in that corner over there.
I like seeing the pieces of the cars on the wall. That's cool. The sheet metal on the walls.
Oh, yeah.
I remember cutting it off. I don't know what race it was, but that's 2000. That's kind of that paint era of the paint scheme.
What about that hood?
He wrecked that at Wilkesboro. This stuff I found different places, like, you know, all the sheet metal went to like charity auctions and whatnot. A guy in Gastonia had that. I cut that side off, and then I ended up buying it back from somebody in Hickory. And then that Lifebuoy, that tailpiece, it was down in Forest City in like a baseball card shop or something.
Yeah. See, we donated a lot of the stuff, you know, to charities that, you know, to help them out when they had auctions and events and stuff.
Like that sign up there that says Real Tree, that they would put those placards up at Indy.
That was the first race when we run at Indianapolis. They gave us dimensions and we could have signs made, and they were over our garages at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
And there's another one behind that Lifebuoy. You can't really see it, but
Yeah.
It's camouflage.
Yeah.
Of course you can't see it.
Yeah. A lot of these pictures and stuff in here, Sam has picked up over the years, that, you know, his stuff.
piled up.
So we worked on the cars mostly in here.
Flip that other light on for the trophies.
So yeah, that's the trophy case that we had. Can't move it.
I'll get that.
I don't know if you can get through it, can you? Yeah, I think I can right here, maybe. As soon as you get in there.
It's one of my favorite quotes ever. We got some SB2 manifolds over there.
That's good.
Done some engine work here in the shop too, and he worked in here.
So were those just like, there was never really like any set plan to stop racing, you just kind of stopped and then didn't start again? Or is that how like you left over engines? Like when did you decide to not fill the car anymore? Was that planned or did it just kind of happen?
No, I guess basically I couldn't hardly, it was costing so much money. More and more and more, and you just, for a little guy, and all them big teams got airplanes and they're flying people back and forth, and we had no such a thing and no means to get it. It was just getting harder and harder to make ends meet. You couldn't keep up, you know. We done the best we could with what we had to do with it. That's about how we got priced out of the sport, I guess. I mean, you know, you and your guys, you're going back and forth in a van for a day or two in some of them races, and everybody else is home that night with their airplanes at 9 or 10 o'clock in their own house and own bed, and we're on the road driving, no sleep. When we used to race Riverside, I'd help the guys drive the truck, and we would never get back till Tuesday afternoon. And we'd leave right after the race on Sunday night.
What is this board from? Are those engine numbers or what?
Oh boy, I tell you what, I guess so. I don't remember, yeah. Who kept that sheet, Sam?
Bobby.
Huh?
Bobby.
Bobby did? My nephew.
That's awesome. So one of those SB2s that you said was fresh, do you think you'd have a dyno sheet from that?
Yeah, I don't know where it is, but I do, yeah.
Did these engines come from Childress?
No. Jim Michaels in Wakarusa, Indiana did these engines. You ever hear of him?
I don't think so.
Performance Tech. He builds a lot of engines. He built a lot of engines for the ARCA series, lots of them. He's got a good reputation. He built a lot of Kenny Schrader's engines, a lot of sprint car guys. Frank Kimball, ARCA, he done all Frank's engines.
That's a interesting size comparison to see the SB2 next to a big block. It's like they look very similar.
Yeah, those were good. That was a pretty good conversion that GM came up with there. You know, that gave us a good cylinder head.
So which one was your office?
In here. This was parts in here. Parts room in here. Most of those axles are out of Dale's car. Because Richard had to put new axles in every race. Because of having the sponsors and that he had, he couldn't take a chance of breaking an axle, he said, and have a sponsor call him on Monday and ask what happened, and he'd have to say they broke an axle, and if the sponsor says were they new axles, you know, they had to be. So to me, an axle with one race on it was probably better than a new one, because it was a proven part. We didn't have that much trouble, you know, with axles. So these would be old axles that they wouldn't race no more. They took them out, and he gave them to me to help me out when I was doing the testing for Dale.
Did you get a lot of parts from them that way?
A lot of used parts like that, yeah. I never took no money for testing, just I'd rather have good used parts.
It's an awesome deal.
It helped me out more than if I had to go buy the parts, you know.
Yeah.
You can look, focus on some of those belts up there. Some of those belts.
Yeah, the old belts from Dakel.
Like
There's Hemi belts
Hemi
there.
belts. There's Hemi plugs over here.
Really?
Yeah.
Those belts hanging to the far left up there, those were Chrysler products for the Hemis.
Huh.
A good majority of them belts were Chrysler belts, weren't they, Sam?
I'd say.
Yeah.
But he'll want to see these plugs and stuff where you say these old Hemi plugs.
Are those your aero wheels? Or Bassett's?
Those wheels,
Yeah.
those are some of those are
Mini lights.
Michelite, what are your
Menolites.
Minolites. And those were some of the original wheels on the IROC cars.
Oh.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and Mark Donahue had a deal with those people, and those were on the original IROC cars before we had just regular steel wheels on them.
Yeah.
And I guess I got have I got two sets of them or just one set, Sam?
I can't tell. It looks,
I can't remember.
It looks like just one. It looks like just one.
Any of them damn wheels are titanium.
If Ray Evernham finds out you got those up here, he'll be down here in about 20 minutes.
Huh?
If Ray Evernham finds out those are up there, he'll be calling you in about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
He was just telling us
I
how hard those.
remember. Yeah, there's two sets there, I guess. There's a set in the boxes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Still in the box. Do you have any other IROC parts, or just those wheels?
I think just them wheels.
That's
think,
really
yeah.
cool.
Yeah,
Still
this is-
in the box.
This is some of the coolest stuff. It's like you never know what you bump into.
I just thought that those were like some aero wheels sitting up there. I had no idea that would be.
Yeah, them wheels are worth some money.
Yeah, they are.
I'll tell you the story of them wheels off the tape.
Brake calipers, spindles, A-arms.
Here is When we were down by Ben Barnes, and I said that I had some General Motors ignition for a Chrysler Hemi. This is one of the distributors. It starts out as being a Pontiac, because they had, I think, the first electronic ignition systems. GM and Jim Ruggles made this stuff up, because the Chrysler products all had problems in those days with their ignition. So when Milt Lunda, who was sponsoring me at that time, bought A.J. King Enterprises in Sevierville, Tennessee, these distributors were in those Chrysler Hemi engines.
Huh.
So I still have one of them yet.
That's
so
awesome.
that will fit in a 426 Chrysler Hemi, and you use a GM box, the electronic box for it.
Wow.
But we never had no ignition problems.
You got all kinds of awesome stuff in here. Would that ladder come from a library or something?
I can't remember. I think. Who got us this ladder, Sam? Johnny Hall, I think. A guy that worked for me. But I can't remember where he told me it come from. It might have been a school or something. I don't know. I think he got it for me.
What's up there?
Just off oil filters and just spare parts, headers, tailpipes, air cleaners.
I love tailpipes.
Huh?
I want to see your old tailpipes if you'll show me. I'm a big exhaust nerd. Nothing gets me excited quite like a pile of old tailpipes.
Here's one set of some parts of the tailpipes here. This is when we ran them all together and merged them out one side the car. See, that's cut to go along the rocker panel.
Yeah. Oh, this is one of the good ones.
Yeah. You know, we made a lot of our stuff. We made it. We didn't buy it. We made everything. Here's some more here. Some of the old crossovers that we had.
Those were like early 90s type ones with the banded ends before the common boom tube existed.
So I got all kinds of, stuff for building pipes.
Got a whole car's worth of decals there, probably.
Yeah. Absolutely. You see this?
Yeah, old decals and stuff too, yeah.
Cool.
There's the old 71, probably roof numbers.
Yeah, I'm not sure what we had them for.
You have a few of your racing.
There's even a new fuel cell. Well, maybe it ain't a new one, but that probably is.
Is that one of your old seats or somebody else's?
That one's one of mine.
There's another one right here too.
I had some of Triples, but I donated them to the guys in Wisconsin that had a memorial made for Dick, and I think they sold them to raise some money for that memorial. This is one of mine, yeah.
Look at the car cover.
Oh, wow.
That's really cool.
Lakey Cornelius?
Huh?
Lakey Cornelius?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like one of the first guys I ever talked to down here. Like,
oh, really?
Like 10 years ago, yeah.
This stuff here Ray Everham made. For setting up the car, for squaring the car.
Is that from IROC?
Yeah. I mean, he made them first for IROC, but he made this set for me, for my race cars. This stuff here and this.
What is this? Old oil tank?
Yeah, that was the oil tank we used for, did we use that to heat the oil, I guess, for one time? But yeah, that's an oil tank. I can't remember where we had that.
Monte Carlo decals.
Yeah, a lot of work laying here. All the stuff we used to build, all our own fan shrouds and all that kind of stuff.
What era is this battery charger from? Looks hand lettered.
Oh man, that's an old battery charger. It works good yet.
That is awesome.
Yeah, shoot, I probably had that back, well, in the 70s, you know. You can tell there's some good stuff in that baby. Just lift it.
It's
Them
so
ones
heavy.
today ain't like that.
No.
All this kind of stuff, you know, brake ducts and stuff for all the different cars, road courses, short tracks, you know, we built all that stuff here. Some of it we got from Childress that they took off cars they wrecked. When they weren't using it no more, we'd get it. And back when we were playing with them restrictor plate carburetors and stuff, we made all kinds of different air cleaner bottoms and tried them and tested them, you know, at the racetracks.
Huh.
You see a whole stack of bottoms there. You know, we did different shapes here, different heights, and all different radiuses. That was all playing with that damn stuff with restrictor plates. The whole stack of them. That was a never-ending battle, that restrictor plate crap. I got intake manifolds here that, shoot, I probably spent $5,000-6,000 on different people
Oh, you got light stickers.
machining it and welding it and fixing it. Yeah, tail lights. Like a lot of these drive plates were off of them cars.
Would they have been numbered to like a car number of his, like a chassis
Yeah.
number?
Yeah, yeah, I think they had stuff on them. Some of the axles where they had tested, you know, like we had some here.
Car 17.
Yeah, and like a tested Darlington or something. But I don't know. Some of these drive plates were marked. But yeah, all the stuff that come from them pretty much was numbered. Yes. So I got all kinds of brakes yet. Spindles, hubs, steering boxes. This is all old Hemi stuff here. See, like at Talladega, we run that N57G. But then for warm-up plugs, there would be N60Ys. I've used a lot of them things up in lawnmowers and stuff.
Is that one of those tacks that had the GM logo inside it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Oh, heck, that's awesome. And a bear.
Sam's got these lights on if you want to look around. See, there's a good picture of the wing car. The original colors. That's what Will should put that thing back to.
Yeah, he really should. I think with enough peer
Then
pressure.
see, I had the Chrysler emblem on the front too, you see it?
Yeah.
That was the only car. I don't know why none of the other guys done that, but I was the only car that had the emblem on the front.
It's got the bear scoop on it in this picture.
Yeah, well, that guy, we weren't allowed to run those in NASCAR. That was when that boy that I sold it to originally in Milwaukee, Donnie Danielewicz, they could run those things in the USAC races. And he put that on there. We couldn't run them in NASCAR. Donnie Danielewicz is the one that gave me that picture. I don't think that's the original 3D lettering on the car. I'd have to find a postcard. I think I have some at home. That picture goes way back into, like, I forgot when that really went out of business, maybe in the 50s sometime. So a lot of bars had them in. There was a tavern up the road from my dad's house, and they had that in there. And I tried getting that picture, I'll bet you, for 15, 20 years. And finally some different people bought that bar from the people that had it. And they were race fans, and my sister painted a great big picture. I guess it's in the house up in Wisconsin at the lake, maybe. Anyhow, my sister was an artist, and she painted a picture of the race car. those people that had the bar told me that they'd swap me, give me that picture for the one of the race car. So we done that, and then they sold that bar, and I tried to find that picture, I'll bet you, for 10 years of the race car. And finally, when I bought that bar, motel, and restaurant up in northern Wisconsin, and we had a old-timer racers reunion there from all the local guys that I raced with in the 50s and 60s in Wisconsin. Some guy had that picture. He got it from them people at the tavern when they sold the tavern, and he was living in California. And he heard I was looking for it, and I don't know if he sent it to somebody or if he brought it to that racers reunion thing that we had. They gave it back to me, so I got that picture back now too.
Yeah.
I got them both. So did you know of Tommy Heenerschitz?
No.
Really?
I never heard him.
He was a Dutchman that ran sprint cars. He lived in Pennsylvania.
His last name is awesome.
And he, you should look his past history up. He was tough. So one day I said to AJ Foyt, I said, you ever race against a guy by the name of Tommy Heenerschitz? And he looked at me, he said, you know him? I said, yeah. I said, I'm good friends, we're good friends. He said, let me tell you something, that old man would cover your ass up with dirt. He said he had never raced against anybody that could run that top cushion in a sprint car like Tommy Heenerschitz. Coming from AJ Foyt, that's quite a compliment.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, he said that old man would cover you up with dirt. This is an old picture here. We were all previous winners at Martinsville.
You're hard to recognize without the Goodyear hat.
Yeah.
It's like a disguise when you take it off.
That's J.D. McDuffie there in that picture.
Were you part of the independent pit crew sharing when they'd go out to the West Coast and like JD and Jimmy Means and those guys?
Yeah, we all helped each other all the time. See, I don't think that, that don't go on no more nowadays. So there's a lot of old pictures here then from the racetracks. These here, race fans gave me that stuff. I don't really know exactly where it all came from.
That's a good looking car. What was your favorite looking car that you drove, just by the looks of it?
Well, I mean, them wing cars were really nice cars. I thought that year model Dodges were nice cars too, though. That's some of my short track stuff in Wisconsin, the 57 Chevys. That's Larry Weir's standing by me. Larry had a Weir's Chevrolet dealership in Bangor, Wisconsin. And Larry's the one that bought the first Chevelle that I had that we went to Daytona with. He helped me out. And I worked for him in his garage in my short track days in Wisconsin because it was pretty hard to hold a full-time job. Back in Wisconsin in the short track days, I was racing sometimes 7 times a week. We had double hitters on Sundays. We didn't race on Monday night. We raced Tuesday nights, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Friday, Saturdays, Tomahawk, Wisconsin on Sunday afternoon, Wausau, Wisconsin on Sunday night.
When did you work on? Did you just come
Mondays.
and work on a different car? You had to get 7 days where the car's ready, or if you wrecked one, did it mess up the rest of your schedule? Or did you have a different one?
You had to be
ready?
careful not to tear stuff up was one of the deals. I mean, that's where you learn to take care of your equipment. We only had one race car.
That was like Bobby Allison too.
Yeah.
You have to take it back to the garage and fix it. Like you just on your own.
I remember one day in Tomahawk, I tore the car up in the feature, and I and Gino Hartjes, the guy that helped me from up there, we loaded that thing up, headed back to Wausau, and it's like 40 miles between the two towns, and we worked on that car and got it squared away and got it running, loaded it on the truck. From my dad's house from the farm to the racetrack in Wausau was probably about 12 miles, and we made it there in time to unload it and run the feature Sunday night and won the race. We missed the time trials in the heat, but we made it for the feature and we won the race.
So you started at the back.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Up there in those days, we got paid for qualifying. I think fast time was $25, but all the fast cars started in the back all the time.
Did they invert the field?
Yeah, well, just that's how fast cars in all my short track years up there in Wisconsin, all the fast cars started in the back. So you learn to work traffic and how to take care of your car and how to get through a pack of cars to get up front.
That's interesting.
It is interesting.
And I think a lot of the guys in that era of the sport, when they went other places and raced, we always fared pretty well because I think that helped us take care of equipment and you get your car handling good because sometimes we had 14, 16 cars in a feature and it was a 25 lap race. You start in the rear, you got to be on the ball to get to the front and win the race. I'd have to look in my book. I think 65. I think we ran 92 events that summer up there. I took 52 first place out of 92 events.
It's insane.
That's crazy, yeah.
Yeah, you couldn't really have a full-time job, you know, so Larry Weirs, and Larry had his name on the race car, and then, so, I mean, if I was late to work the next morning, it was no big deal, and then he'd let me leave early in the afternoon to go to the next race.
Is that the dealership badge that's on all your trucks? It's like on your Suburban, says
Yes.
Weirs on it?
Yeah, Weirs Chevrolet, yeah, in Bangor, Wisconsin, yeah.
Does that dealership still exist?
Huh?
Is that dealership still there?
No, he just sold that franchise about 4 or 5 years ago, but they originated since 1935. Yeah, Larry helped me a lot. I probably wouldn't have made it in NASCAR had it not been for Larry buying that first Chevelle that we had that I could go to Daytona with, and I run an ARCA race with it.
We saw that same badge on your different trucks parked there, and we're like, there's got to be a reason behind that.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense
Yeah.
now.
Did you kind of feel like an outsider as an independent? Like, did you think that other drivers didn't really, I don't know, per se, like, be your friend because you were an independent? Or kind of had it out for you?
Because you weren't from the South.
I'll tell you what, I worked so damn hard on that race car, I didn't pay much attention to stuff like that. I just worked and done what I had to do, and I didn't worry about stuff like that. I mean, when I first came down here, you know, I was the only one from up there. They'd call me a Yankee and stuff like that, but I just tell them I'm not a Yankee. The Yankees are in the Northeast. I'm a Midwesterner.
That's how I think about it too. Like, Yankees are from like New York and New Jersey, and
The first one to come over and look at my race car and went in the NASCAR garage was Richard Petty. Congratulated me or welcomed me into NASCAR and looked my car over and said it looked pretty nice, and yeah. And when I was a kid growing up in Wisconsin, you know, it sounds funny to say that because we ain't that far apart in age, but the only thing I knew about NASCAR racing was in the Hot Rod magazine. I got, as a magazine, I got that in the mail, so that's when I could read about a NASCAR race because they covered some of the NASCAR events. I kind of look at what size tracks they were running and the times that they were turning, and always wondered if I went down there, you know, if I could compete with them. You know, you're just a kid, you know, 17, 18 years old, so. Mm-hmm. So I finally did it.
Did everybody think you were crazy when you wanted to
Oh,
go?
for sure, yeah. I didn't have no money to go do it. I slept in that tow truck many, many, many nights. Yeah, the first time I went to Daytona was on that, with, you know, that truck right there. That was a 1965 Chevrolet truck.
whatever happened to that thing?
When I was done using it, then Larry got it back. Larry Weirs from Weirs Chevrolet, and Larry just I don't know how Larry sold that dealership, maybe in the last 3 or 4 years, that franchise. And some guy bought that truck now. That truck's in Virginia now, I think. Yeah, it's in Virginia now. A guy that got it from Larry just 2 years ago. I got a letter at home. Larry sent me the guy's name and address in case I ever got around that town. But it's in Virginia.
Wow.
Wow.
I'm surprised
And he
it's
just
not
bought it
rusted.
within the last 2 years.
So did Helen think you were crazy when you wanted to race too?
No, she pretty much went along with what I wanted to do. She was a school teacher, you know. She taught business education, typing and shorthand, high school. I think 9th and 10th grade.
That's a hard job.
Yeah.
Did you keep teaching when you came down here? Like, did she go teaching
She taught
down
a
here?
little bit down here, not a lot. She subbed for people down here some. After our kids were born, she didn't come to a lot of races unless they were like within 3 hours or something here, because, you know, she wouldn't allow them kids to miss school the next day.
Did they grow up in the race shop and doing stuff with you?
Yeah, my son helped a lot, and yeah. And he's at Detroit Diesel now. He's an engineer at Detroit Diesel, and he's actually in charge of their R&D right now up there. So he went to work when he was in college for Roger Penske when Roger owned Detroit Diesel.
Did he ever want to try driving?
No, it never seemed like that much interest. I think the deal there was he seen I was never home. He seen all the work that's involved in it. Basically, you know, when them kids were young, I mean, they were in bed by the time I'd come home from the shop, and then I'd have to leave on Wednesdays a lot of times to go to the racetracks, so I wasn't home. And when I'd come back from that shop a lot of times at night, they were already in bed, and I'd be up and gone to the shop again in the morning a lot of times before they got up. I mean, I didn't have no employees, sometimes just one. I did most of that work, and people helping me. You know, guys that lived around here that loved racing, they would help me.
Is that a Martinsville clock?
Yeah, that's when I'm on Martinsville, yep.
1975. New record, 75.819 miles an hour. I don't know if we've seen one of these yet.
Huh?
I don't know if we've seen a Martinsville clock yet. Like in any of these things. Anybody
Oh,
that's won
really?
it, yeah, they're never, it's not like seen one in person.
Yeah, that's pretty nice. So that's my daughter in that picture with me. And that one above it there, diagonal, that's my son, Richard.
Is there anything you wish you did differently? Or learned sooner?
Well, I don't know. Maybe I had some offers to drive for different teams at times, but they didn't run all the races. So I didn't do them. And I don't know. And when I went back on my own, you know, like I told you the last time, it was just because, well, like I mean, I drove with K&K and won races, and last year I won them 3 events, right, in '76, I guess. And then the team got sold, and I didn't have a ride. And then I drove that deal with Osterlund, and then that deal all went haywire, and I quit. I just told Helen I'm going to go back on my own. I ain't going to make as much money, but at least I know I got a job and I can race. That's what I wanted to do, so that's what I did.
Did your quality of life improve once you moved into this shop and didn't have to wake up in the middle of the night to put wood in the fire?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, this was a good move when I built the shop, for sure, yeah. Yeah, it helped us, yeah, a bunch.
Did going from the trailer house to the real house improve your quality of life?
Oh yeah.
As much as the shop change or not as much as the shop?
Oh yeah. And Helen done all the bookwork. She worked here, you know, and that was her desk. It used to sit right here. Sat right here. And that was my desk there. And so that was all open. But she did all our bookwork, booked our air flights when we got in later in my career when we could have to fly to some of the races, and she paid all the bills and chased parts for us, and yeah, she was pretty involved in it.
You can still put together a really awesome race car with all the stuff you got in here.
Yeah, I sure could. Yeah, I've got a brand new chassis
Really?
that we never finished. Yeah.
Where's that?
I was gonna go get them. Sam's over there.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, it's a Laughlin chassis. It's ready for sheet metal. We never put the sheet metal on it.
Where's that at?
It's in a trailer. We got all the brake lines run on it, the seat brackets, the fuse cell, the oil lines, the clutch and brake pedals. Everything's done on it. It just never had sheet metal put on it.
Do you have any the sheet metal for one of those Monte Carlos still? Like the noses
No.
and tails?
No, because in our era, well, I think what were we using that was stock? The roof, the hoods, the deck lids.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, I don't think Sam would know if there's any up there. I'm not sure.
and the nose and tails were those Kevlar pieces.
Yeah, I didn't have much of that stuff.
Huh. Did you just order them whenever you needed one?
Yeah. Sam, we ain't got any sheet metal for the ladder cars, have we? Like roofs or deck lids or?
I don't think anything's left, no.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
You know, after we filmed the video with Dave and his old Daytona at the museum, I knew that whenever the opportunity came up to go with him to film his shop, it was going to be a lot of fun, and it definitely didn't disappoint. We did stuff that didn't even make it to this video because there was so much of it. We went to Robert Presley's hot dog stand. We went to Ben Barnes' engine shop, which is who did the machining and stuff on the engine that Dave won that race with in 1982, which was the last driver to win a race with an engine they built themselves. And there'll be more of that. We're going to go back over there and do more of the Asheville history stuff. And in that part where we're driving over to the second shop, and he kind of goes through that red light, and he's like, oh, I know what that light does. It ain't ready yet. And that reminded me of, there was this time a few weeks ago, we went with Tim Walker over to Bobby Allison's house and watched the football with him. See, we do things that we can't film pretty often, but here's a story. We're there with Bobby, and you know, he starts telling stories, and he's talking about this guy Crash Armstrong. Heard about him in his book if you read the book, but guy used to help him work on stuff. And they got the name Crash Armstrong because he, you know, went go get parts or something in his S10 and got T-boned at a stop sign. And Bobby's like, wait a minute, you were going north on this street and the cross streets have the stop signs. You should have had a stop sign. How did you get T-boned there? And he said this guy was like, I run that stop sign at 3:15 every day. That guy had no business being there. And that just reminded me of Dave doing that to that red light back there by his shop. Maybe if you're older than the red light, you get to make the rules. I don't know if you're kind of grandfathered in that way. I'm not sure. But either way, if you appreciate this kind of history, make sure you hit the thumbs up on this video. It helps it grow. And you can send it to a friend. I know statistically more than half of you are watching on TV, and more than half of you are over the age of 45 years old. Depending on the video, half of you are over 50, which is pretty awesome. I didn't know that those of you of that age bracket really knew how to use YouTube, because my dad doesn't just hop on YouTube and watch stuff. My point is, those of you who are can help this history grow a lot by sending it to your friends that you know do not use YouTube but would love this stuff. So please send it to them. It helps get more people on the boat, raises awareness for all this stuff, and lets guys like Dave tell their story in a place that it can live forever. And if you'd like to go a step further, you can go to staplesandautoworks.com and find these hats we just released. They look like the old Stavola Brothers logo. We got them in red and in black, and they're both Richardson snapback style. These are my favorites. I love the Stavola style logo. It's probably my favorite one we've ever done. We got matching shirts with them too, in just about every size. We appreciate all you guys, and it seems like every time I go to film these outros, I'm rushed to get the video out for the next day, and Logan has already gone. She's either done for the day and getting clean to cook dinner, or she is dirty working on her car and doesn't want to be on camera when she's covered in dirt. So that's why she's usually not in the outros. Once in a blue moon, she'll be doing something at her desk, and I'll be like, hey, you gotta film an outro, you ready? And she'll actually be there to do it, but it usually doesn't happen. Anyway, we're glad you guys are here, and we will see you very soon with more awesome videos. And by the way, I bet most of you have probably not seen all the ones we have posted already, so if you're like, you know, don't got to be somewhere, you're just going to watch something else after this, go to the channel page, click on the Racing History Nerd Zone playlist, and go find something you haven't seen before, because there was a lot of awesome stuff there.